Good morning. Craig Howard here. Happy to be with you again this morning. Um, I am today in Wheeling, West Virginia, on my way to northern Indiana for a meeting. Um, and I was reading through some things this morning and um, came across a story that was so beautiful about the way we use our gifts. It was a story about this builder and painter. He was a master builder and a master painter. And he used to build every house that he built for people. He built from start to finish himself. And he did all the carpentry work, all the plumbing, all the electrical. But the big thing was he was also he designed the houses, but he was also this master painter. So he would paint every bit of the houses himself, and he was so good. He never used a drop cloth. He never used tape. He would cut things in perfectly with his brushes. The colors were always just perfect and appropriate to the need. There was never any clash. There was never anything that looked out of place. The houses were showpieces. They were masterpieces when he was finished with them. One day he was working on a house, and he looked out and he saw a bunch of kids playing in the street. Now, this guy's reputation was known everywhere. Even the kids in the town knew his reputation. But he saw some kids playing in the street, and he hollered out to them. And the kids were shocked because they knew who he was. And he hollered out and he said, "Hey, kids, you want to come help me paint? You want to paint a house for me?" And the kids were like stunned for a minute. And then they said, "Yeah, yeah, we want to do that." He said, "I'll give you each a bucket. You can choose the color you want, and you can paint this house for me." Well, I've had teenagers on painting expeditions for projects at camp, and we use drop cloths and we use tape, and we lecture and lecture on the fact that you're doing this for somebody else, so please do a good job. Well, he let these kids cut loose with whatever color they wanted, with brushes and rollers, and before you knew it, you had this. Other kids saw what was going on, and they came running, and they wanted to paint too. And before you knew it, you had this hodgepodge of color all over the house, all over the driveway, all over the shrubs, all over the kids. It was a mess. And some people in the town heard about it, and they came to see what was going on, and they said, "What are you doing? This house looks like a tornado went through Sherwin-Williams." He said, "For all my life, I have worked on these houses and painted these houses for myself, to do this immaculate job, to show my talents and my abilities." And he said, "It's brought great joy to me to see these finished products." But he said, "This one isn't for me." He said, "This one is to let other people use their abilities. It's to bring joy to them. It's to let them see what their abilities and gifts and so forth can do." And he said, "So yeah, there's colors all over the place. And it looks different than anything else I've ever done." But he said, "Look at the joy that it's brought to these kids." When we use the gifts that God has given us, when we turn loose with those gifts, it may not be as pretty as what God could do for himself if God had done the work, but God has said, "I give you these gifts, and I want you to use them to glorify me. I want you to use them to bring joy to the people around you. I want you to use them to bring joy to the world." He handed you a bucket of paint and a paintbrush when he gave you the gifts that he's given you. Now, you can walk around all day long carrying that bucket and do nothing with it and bring joy to nobody, including yourself. Or, yeah, you might spill a little paint. Yeah, you might make a little bit of a mess here or there. But you can use that to bring glory to God. You can use those gifts to bring glory to God and to bring joy into somebody's life. And that's why God gave you that bucket of paint and that paintbrush we call spiritual gifts and talents. Use them today. Go paint a house. Glorify God and have some fun in the process. Well, got to go. You have a great day today. Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow. God bless.